Hey guys, Miss Ford here. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about some stuff that we've been working on or stuff that might help you as we go through. We have talked about plot a little bit as we've moved through lessons and just kind of worked in general on stories. And I wanted to remind you guys of the elements of plot, things that we think about, the way that we set up the plot of a story. So remember, the plot is the basic overview, kind of like how a story moves through. When we start out talking about a plot, we start at the very beginning, which is always a very good place to start. Okay. The first part that we talk about is the exposition. This is where we get the background information. Things like the setting, the point of view, the characters. We kind of get an introduction to everything so that we can go ahead and move through and talk about what's happening in our story. We then come to the complication, which is the conflict or the problem, the overall central conflict or problem. So there might be more than one problem. There's probably always going to be more than one problem or more than one situation that's coming up. This is the big overall complication that's driving the story. And we've got some little stuff going on in here, which we call the rising action. The rising action is quite a bit of the story. It's going to tell us the information of what's happening. It moves us from the, oh, things went wrong, to our climax, which is our turning point in the story. When we start to see the real problem come to a head or come to a turning point in some way. Okay, that rising action is going to build suspense for us. It's going to build anticipation. And it's going to tell us kind of more details about the story. Kind of like the good stuff. Really helps us to see what all is going on in the story. There could be little extra complications in there that come up that are resolved too. Again, this is just kind of the big overview. We have, of course, the climax of the turning point in our story, and everything kind of goes downhill from there. We might have some little bumps as we go down, but we have our falling action. Okay, and in our falling action, we see kind of how things get tied up, kind of like how things move away. Oops, how things move away from what we're learning with our complication. It kind of ties up the loose ends. Okay, and then of course we have the bottom, the ending, which is the resolution. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when we think of the resolution, specifically, when we talk about the resolution of a problem, we think that the problem is all done, right? The problem may not be completely done. It doesn't necessarily have to be a happy ending. It's not always a happy ending. The resolution is just how the story ends. Okay, so it's not always happy. If you're telling about an event in your life, you might tell about a time when someone bullied you. The background would be that you were in school, you're telling it from your point of view, and you probably tell some of the people that were there. The complication, so-and-so was bullying me, someone was bullying me. The rising actions, where you give those descriptions of things that they did or said that really upset you. The climax or the turning point might be when that student got in trouble, or maybe whenever there was a fight. The falling action would be the stuff after that. If you get in trouble, or if the person starts to leave you alone and you're not really sure what to do or how to respond to anybody else talking about it. And then the resolution could be that for some of you, the resolution is that you change schools, came to CCA. For others of you, it may just be a resolution of, this other student no longer picks on me, no longer bullies me, or it could just be the resolution of they got in trouble, but it didn't make them stop. Okay, the resolution is not always going to be happy. It's not always the outcome that we hope for, but it's how the story ends. Now, when we talk about stories that have sequels, we often see that the stories start out, and we see this a lot with our movies, and we have one plot sequence, and then the resolution of one kind of leads into the next story that we've seen. Okay. Think about Disney movies. Really anything that has a sequel might be doing the ups and downs in one and then leading into the next one. So just keep that in mind, that even though, for some of our favorite Disney movies, they have the story keeps going for 4, 3, 2 movies, but each one of those is going to have its own plot diagram that we would talk about, its own actions as we go through. Okay, if you have any questions or concerns, or you're not sure about this, please be sure to reach out to your teacher. If not, guys, I hope this helped go over just a little bit about that plot sequence, and look forward to seeing you in our next episode.